Alright, we are about to use TShark to actually go through an exercise in analyzing a few PCAP files. And what we're going to do is we're going to extract some information and compare it with the database inside of VirusTotal to get some full investigations completed and hopefully find the domain that's been marked as malicious and or suspicious. And this represents us with a challenge to investigate some traffic data as a part of the SOC team. And what we're going to do is work with TShark to analyze that capture traffic, those PCAP files. And we're going to use the information that we learned from the basics and the CLI Wireshark features rooms for TShark. So if you haven't seen those, I would recommend you actually go through those because I will do some explanations of the commands that we're going to use, but I'm not going to give a full breakdown of each option of every command. I'm mostly just going to be crafting the queries and the commands to get the results that we need. And I'm going to be referring back and forth from the data that we got while we went through this specific room, because we get a lot of queries and a lot of different options that we can use as we go through this room. And we're going to be using all of these queries and all of these options to answer all of these questions, basically. So that's the whole purpose of this video. All right, the first piece of this is we need to find out where our exercise files are. So we are in home Ubuntu and everything is on the desktop. So I'm going to go on the desktop and I'm going to get into the exercise files folder. And what we're going to be using is that teamwork PCAP file for the whole purpose of this thing. So the first question that we had here is, what is the full URL of the malicious suspicious domain address? So what's the full URL of the malicious suspicious domain address? And we're going to be defanging it using CyberChef. So the first query that we're going to do is first we're going to open up TShark in read mode, which is done with tshark-r. And then this is the file that we're reading. So that part is fairly standard. Now what we need to do is we need to search for a specific field, or at least search for something inside of this file so it doesn't pull everything up for us. And this is the individual field name that we're looking for, because this is going to include all of the URLs basically that was acquired or queried through this specific PCAP file and through the traffic that was captured. So you can also use -y to actually use a contains operator where you can look for specific words inside the string, or you can look for matches with regex patterns, so on and so forth. But we don't know what exactly we're looking for or what even the keyword might be. So we're just going to use -y and then we're going to look for that field name. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use -T and then look for all of the fields. So you just do fields and it looks through all of the fields. And then you're going to extract the DNS query name. So this is going to extract specifically that field for us, and then it's going to print it onto the screen. And then if there's something else that you can do is a -E, and then we're going to do headers, and we're going to do =y so that it actually just prints the header onto the screen for us as well, so that we know that we're looking at the DNS query name. And usually if it's a big enough file, it'll take a few seconds for this thing to read. So let's just wait for this to finish and then we'll look at the outputs. Okay, so my bad. It's actually not headers, it's header. So I just got to remove that S, and there we go. All right, now we got all of the outputs. So just looking at this, there seems to be something that just looks weird, right? So PayPal.com isn't going to have this entire extension to its domain name, and then timeseaways.com. And I really don't want to click on this, so I don't even know what would happen if I clicked on it. But that seems to be really kind of, just from first glance, it seems to be malicious. And then we have toolbarqueries.com, seems to be fine. Witty server, HSD, MD, Comcast.net, Witty server. Yeah, so if I were to bet, if I was a betting man, it would be this specific domain name that I would say is the malicious domain name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to highlight it, I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to copy this. And then what we need to do is go into CyberChef. So I already have CyberChef open from a previous exercise, and we're going to paste that in there. And then when you do this, there's a portion of this. So there are recipes, right, that are available inside CyberChef. And I have defang IP addresses and defang URL both chosen. And so depending on what I put in my input, my output at the bottom is going to give me the defanged version of that, which is in this case the URL. So that's going to be our specific piece, and we're going to go to our question here, and let's paste this and see if this is right. That is indeed the right answer. So paypal.com, whatever, times CUA, all of that stuff. That is definitely the malicious URL. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some OSINT, some open source intelligence, and we want to see what the URL of the malicious domain address first submitted to VirusTotal, what that date is. So what we got to do in this case is actually go and open up VirusTotal. So I'll just open up one more link at the bottom right here. I already have VirusTotal, and then I'm going to search for this URL, scan for that, and press enter. And so we have 1 out of the 96 queries that showed up that is a criminal IP address vendor analysis, that is a phishing website, and first submission under details shows us is this piece right here. So I'm going to take this whole thing. I don't know if the UTC actually needs to be in there, but we're just going to take that with us anyways. And we're going to go here. I think it does need to be in there. And there we go. Okay, so we got that. So we got the defanged version of this, and then we got the URL domain date that was first submitted to VirusTotal. So let's move on to the next question here. It's kind of an obvious question. Which known service was the domain trying to impersonate? And that would be the service PayPal. And now we can move on to the next piece. So it says, what is the IP address of the malicious domain? All right, so to find the IP address of these guys right here, we can essentially just run the same exact thing. But what we're going to do is we're going to extract a couple of new fields. So I'm going to do an eip.dst for IP destination, and then I'm going to do eip.src for IP source. So I want to extract also those fields for everything that we're going to get here. And then now what we're going to see is there are certain things that are matching for these files, right? So, or for these packets, these queries, this data points. So we have the IP destination is going to be this, and then we have the IP source is going to be this. So for this thing, the IP source address seems to be this piece right here, and it's 757575. So I want to say that it's the 192 that is going to be done in this case. So let's see if it is actually indeed the 192. So if we copy this piece right here, and then we're going to go to CyberChef, we're going to paste it, and we will get this data. And from here, let's see if this is indeed the right data. I think that is the right data. It's not. Okay, so let's see. What's the IP address of the malicious domain name? So that one isn't the right one. So maybe it's the other one. Let me see. Okay, so here is what I found. So I messed around with a few different fields, and DNS.A is a field that has been assigned to the A record, and it's used to map a domain name to an IPv4 address. So when you filter using that, you essentially are filtering for the DNS responses that provide that address associated with a particular domain name. So it's not necessarily the source IP address, which is, interesting, honestly, because I would think that the source IP address would be that individual address. So we got a different address completely for running this, and this was using the DNS.A field that's been extracted from this thing. So I tried a few other fields as well, and I didn't get much data, and it's assuming that there is some kind of A record or a record for the domain name, and this was one of the fields that ended up actually having some kind of a data. There are other fields that I tried that I'm just kind of giving you the shortcut to the thing that actually finally gave you the response. So this is the one that we got as an extra piece of data that potentially could work for us. So let's go over here in not Wireshark. Why do I keep saying that? In CyberChef. We're going to go in CyberChef and we're going to retry this address. Okay, cool. That is the address, the IP address of the malicious domain. That's what it is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to find an email address that was used, and then we're going to also do that in defanged format. And that's basically it, the last version of this whole thing. So what is the email address that was used in defanged format? So let's go over here and let's try to run a few other queries to see what we can find here. All right, so for this one, I kind of don't know where I would start. So I need to really just start from the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to read this file. I'll do it in verbose mode so that we actually get everything that we need. And then I'm going to export it to a file. So we actually have like a txt file that we can search through. And then from there, we'll try to create some regular expression patterns to see if there's anything that we can find, really. So first and foremost, we have our text file. So if I just do full capture, let's see if it'll just show anything. Yeah, so it shows me everything that's inside of this thing. And obviously there's a lot of data, because even if we scroll to the very, very top, we're not going to be able to find everything. So we actually have the output into a text format that we can read, so that's great. What we need to do now is we need to create some kind of a pattern that we would be able to use to search through that entire piece. And one of the things that I'm really just adamant about is regular expressions. So I'm going to first read this, and I'm going to see if I can get just the titles, the column names, so to speak, of everything that's inside of this information. So we can do this in a few ways. So let's try the head option. And so we have just the first portion of this, and there's a variety of data, but it's not, it just gives me the first 10 lines. So, okay, so we're actually going to take a completely different approach. I'm just going to use grep to search through this document, because I know for a fact that I can combine regular expressions with grep. I know that this is kind of outside of what they taught us inside of the first few TShark rooms, but I don't know the field name that I'm looking for. That's the thing that kind of like throws me for a loop. I don't know which field name specifically would have the data that we're looking for, which is the ASCII data, which is inside of that data is going to show us the potential email name as like a payload, or maybe the hex data, but I don't know the field name, and I'm ashamed of it, so don't judge me, and I know it sucks and whatever, so I'm kind of doing like a cut around in this case. So what we've done is that we've read this PCAP file so far. We've read this PCAP file, and we have exported the entire contents of that PCAP file inside of this txt file. Now what we can do is we can search for a pattern by doing grep E with a capital E, and capital E essentially is like an extended regular expression, so you can just do really any kind of regular expression that you want to search for something. And the way that I typically just search for things using regex is that, especially for email, so the way that I would search for emails would be to do something like this. So you do the \W+, and that's any alphanumeric character, and that would be done inside of these closed brackets, these square brackets. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the literal @ symbol, because that's what we want inside of this to work. And then we're going to go over here, and then we're going to do something similar again, because we don't know what the domain itself is going to be, if it's Gmail, if it's Hotmail, whatever. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do \W+, and then we're going to close that. And then what we want is a literal dot. So you would do a plus and then a \, and a dot, because a dot is a wildcard character that's inside of regular expressions. So when we want a literal version of it, we do a \, to escape. This is beyond the scope of this room. If you don't know what this means, go watch the regular expressions video that's on this channel, so you can learn more a lot about these things. So \, dot would give us a literal dot, and then we just need to give ourselves again another pattern to be able to get the .com, .net, so on and so forth. So \W+ again. So it's a very, very simple pattern, and it's a very powerful pattern. And to make sure that this is actually working, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go to this website, which is a really awesome website, because regex 101, and you can paste essentially any pattern that you want to search for something. So now in this particular case, I can do this is the email, and then do hank@gmail.com and press enter. And so it doesn't show me the full piece right here because it's missing the .com for me. So I need to be able to find what actually works in here. So the first portion is going to give me the let's see if I did this without putting it inside the brackets, maybe that'll work. So let me modify this real quick. Okay, so without the square brackets, it works, and it actually pulls the information that we need from it. And now we can turn this into our pattern. So I'm going to copy this pattern, and I'm going to go inside of my terminal that was right here, and I'm going to just paste that pattern without using the brackets. So my bad for the brackets. And we're going to paste that, and we're going to use that as our regular expression, and then we're going to use the full capture txt file as our actual file. And cross fingers, let's press enter, see if anything works. So we got johnny5alive@gmail.com, and then there were a few other versions that could potentially work here, but these are the actual usernames that showed up. So johnny5alive@gmail.com. And now it's time to check to see if that's actually the email address that we're supposed to be finding here. So we will do in defanged format, which is yada 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 at. So I don't know if CyberChef is going to do it, but let's try see if we can do it inside CyberChef. If not, we'll just do the manual defanging. So if I go over here and let's zoom out and see if they, I don't think they do defang of an email address. They kind of do. So they have that like brackets at the end of it. So it kind of has the defanging of the .com at least at the end. So what they want is yada 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 at this and then .com. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this at that, like that. I think that's what they want. Press enter. There you go. That's what it is. Okay. So just to review what we did over here, okay? Just so you understand exactly what just happened. So I'm going to clear the screen. So the first command that we ran was to read the entire PCAP file and output it into a specific text file for us, which is this command right here. So TShark read, and then teamwork PCAP in verbose mode, and then you just output that into the full capture txt file. That was the first command that we ran. And then from there, I tried to read the actual file, and you saw that there was a lot of data on there. And then I tried to read the first portion of it, but it didn't give me much data to work with. And then I tried to cat and then grep for what I thought would be the AC section that has all that data. And maybe I should have been searching for hexadecimal or HEX, but I didn't do that. So the final thing was using this actual pattern to search through that PCAP file to actually find the email. And regex is one of the most powerful things that you can do because you just saw what it did. So it read through this entire thing and found for us all the email addresses or anything that would potentially match this kind of a pattern. So if I do this one more time, you'll see that there were actually a couple of other results, right? So it was j@t.b that matches this pattern technically. And then n@m_.gv also matches that pattern technically, but so do these email addresses right here. So this was the way that we were able to extract the email address from that data. And now we actually have the answer, the final answer of this, and we're officially done with this task. So hopefully you hung in there with me towards the end, especially towards the end, because even I was confused and I was trying to figure out how to get that answer, but we got the answer. So I'm very, very glad that you stuck it out with me, and I hope you got a lot of value from this. If you did indeed find value in this channel and this video, I do encourage that you like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out, and especially as we go through the SOC Level 1 pathway and finish it up, because this is the original playlist, and now we're adding a bunch of stuff to that playlist, and there's all these other playlists as well, and then there's the full playlist that we have over here that has all the other type of content in it as well. So there's a lot of content that's available on this channel. As you can see, we're literally right around the corner to hitting 200 videos. So I'm really excited about that. And of course, drop a comment. So the comment section is also very live, and I do respond to all the comments that come in. And it's one of those things that if I can, I'm going to answer your question. I can't for some reason click on the comment section right now. But if I do see your comment in the comment section, I will answer it in the comment section. If it's a really good comment, I'll make a video in response to your question. And then you'll get credited for it, and it'll be like a nice thing that you'll do for the entire community, because I'm sure other people will find it useful as well. So make sure that you like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and of course drop a comment. And yeah, I'll definitely see you hopefully in the comment section. And of course, I got to give a shout out to the Hackaholics Anonymous community, which is the premier YouTube community for security professionals and hackers. This is my baby. This is the passion project that I was hoping that I would get the chance to work on, and it's been really nice. It's been very well received, and we actually have members in here, and the Discord chats are really awesome. So there's a lot of great stuff about this community. There are a lot of perks that are attached to this community. And so if you don't want to watch this little 14-minute video, then if you click on the read more button, you'll be taken to the actual video page, and inside the description are all of the descriptions that are available for this specific membership. And we have 4 different tiers, and each tier gets more perks than the last tier, and it's really powerful. I think it's one of the greatest things that I have created in my life so far, and no BS, I genuinely mean that. I don't say it just to hype it up, but you know, check it out for yourself. And if you do find value from it, I would love to see you in the Discord chats, and I would love to see you on our live streams and everything else that we got going on for our members. But if you don't join right away, bookmark it for the future, so that whenever you are ready, you can find Hackaholics Anonymous and join our community. So we'd love to see you there. Definitely go check that out. And that is it for this video. We are officially wrapped. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, your favorite network and system attacker. If no one else loves you, Hank loves you. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And I will see you in the next video. Later.